Got the homework here for section 3 of vectors. Given a vector in polar form, find the vector's component form. Number 1 is vector v. So this is the magnitude, this is the angle and standard position. That's going to put this in quadrant 1. So here's 45 degrees. We're told this magnitude is square root of 2. So we need to figure out what the x and y components are. Hopefully you recognize this is a special right triangle. Whatever the hypotenuse is, if you divide that by the square root of 2, it's going to give you each of the legs. So if you divide square root of 2 by square root of 2, you get 1. The component form of vector v is 1, 1. Number 2, vector b, this is going to fall into quadrant 4. And what really we want to know is, what's that going to make the reference angle? Well, that reference angle is going to be 45 degrees. So if we draw a reference triangle for this, if the hypotenuse is square root of 2, each of these legs are going to be 1. Going to the right is positive, going down is negative. So in component form, vector b is 1, negative 1. Right 1, down 1. Number 3, this is going to fall into quadrant 2. 120 degrees is between 90 and 180. It's going to make the reference angle for this vector 60 degrees. If we draw a reference triangle, if the hypotenuse is 2, the short leg is always half that size. It makes that 1. And the long leg is the short leg times the square root of 3. Now, need to be careful that we have our signs correct. We went left for 1, so it's negative 1. We went up for square root of 3, so it's positive. In component form, vector u is negative 1, square root of 3. Number 4, vector c is in quadrant 4. 330 degrees is going to give us a reference angle of 30 degrees. If we make a reference right triangle, we know that the length here is 2. That is the hypotenuse. And the short leg opposite 30 is half of 2. And whatever's opposite the short leg, the long leg is that times the square root of 3. Make sure my signs are correct. I went right for x, it's positive. I went down for y, it's negative. Therefore, the component form for vector c is square root of 3, negative 1. Number 5, 225 degrees is going to fall into quadrant 4. Scratch that, quadrant 3. Makes the reference angle 45 degrees. If we draw a reference triangle, whatever's opposite the hypotenuse, or whatever is the hypotenuse length, I should say, the short legs are that divided by the square root of 2. So it's 8 over square root of 2, 8 over square root of 2. We went left, we went down. We want to rationalize this. So vector w, if we didn't rationalize it, would be negative 8 over the square root of 2, negative 8 over the square root of 2. If we rationalize this, if we take negative 8 over the square root of 2 and multiply it by 1 in the form of square root of 2 over square root of 2, we're going to get negative 8 square roots of 2 over 2. You can divide both 8 and 2 by 2, and that's going to give us a negative 4 square roots of 2. So vector w in component form is negative 4 square roots of 2, negative 4 square roots of 2. Number 6, vector s, 240 degrees is in quadrant thrice. Makes the reference angle 60 degrees. Magnitude is 5, so that is the hypotenuse length. Whatever is the hypotenuse in a 30, 60, 90, the short leg is half of that. Half of 5 is 2.5. This is left, so it's negative. If the short leg's negative 2.5, the long leg is that times the square root of 3. We went down, so it's negative. Component form of S is negative 2.5, negative 2.5 square roots of 3. Number 7, vector W, it's in quadrant 1. The angle in standard position and the reference angle are the same, 30 degrees. Magnitude of the vector is 10. The short leg is half of 10. The long leg is 5 times the square root of 3. We're in quadrant 1, so we went right and up. Vector W is therefore 5 square roots of 3, 5 in component form. Number 8, vector S, it's 180 degrees is the angle. That is the negative x-axis. We are not going to be able to make a triangle out of this. And this vector has a length of 5. So what is the x value here? Well, we just went left 5. What's the y value? It's 0. We didn't go up or down. It's the ordered pair, in other words, negative 5, 0. So that means in component form, vector x, vector s is negative 5, 0.